All right, what's up everyone? I am back again with some more music theory for you all. And in this video, we're going to be having a look at a basic way to substitute your chords with other chords. All right, now this video covers the very early steps of learning chord substitution, and this topic goes really deep really quickly. All right, so if you guys do learn something new today, make sure you hit that subscribe button, comment down below, drop us a like, it will be much appreciated. So what are chord substitutions? So a chord substitution is when you replace one chord with another, all right? And this new chord can either be diatonic, meaning it's in the same key, or non-diatonic, meaning it's out of the key. But when we have a look at simple substitution, we'll only be staying in the same key as our original progression. Okay, so trying to keep it nice and basic, easy to follow for you guys. Now, why would we want to learn simple substitution, and what can it actually do for our music? Well, it's simple really. So if we have a chord progression that consists of 4 chords, any 4 chords, and these 4 chords are being repeated throughout our track for about, 3 or 4 minutes, our song can start to become really boring and stale, right? Because it's going to be too repetitive over and over again. So in order to keep that interest, we want to change the shade of a chord or of a couple of chords, and changing the shade of a chord can really help your music become a little bit more exciting to listen to. So think of simple substitution as a way of replacing a chord with another chord that shares a similar harmonic function. All right, remember those words there, similar harmonic function. So let's break it down even more. There are 3 chord families, and each of these 3 families have a function. So there's the tonic family, the subdominant family, and the dominant family. Now, those that have heard these names before, yes, they are scale degree names like the tonic, supertonic, etc., etc. But when we're actually looking at these families, there's only 3. There's the tonic family, subdominant family, and the dominant family. So let's start off with the tonic family. So the tonic family consists of 3 chords, okay? So if we are in the key of C major, the chords that belong to the tonic family are going to be on the 1st degree, on the 3rd degree, and on the 6th degree. All right, so we've got our C, we've got our E, and lastly we've got our A. Now, if we built chords on those, we'll have our C major, our E minor, and our A minor. So the tonic family's function consists of resting and being stable. So they only actually have a very little sense of moving forward or forward motion, and actually tends to be used quite a lot at the end of a phrase. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't use the tonic family at the beginning of our chord progression or in the middle of our chord progression. We can experiment here to give us various colorful progressions. So let's have a look at the tonic family a little bit closer. So staying in the key of C major, remember I said that the 1st degree, the 3rd degree, and the 6th degree belong to the tonic family, right? Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to play these in root position 7th chords. And that's how I'm going to be playing them throughout the rest of this tutorial. Now remember that I said that simple substitution is about sharing that similar harmonic function, right? Well, this is actually where it comes from. If we have a look at these 3 chords in the tonic family, they all share similar notes. So the one chord, which is a C major 7 chord, consists of a C, E, G, and a B. Now, while I'm holding that chord in my left hand, let's have a look at another member of the tonic family, the 3rd degree, which is an E minor 7, which consists of an E, G, B, and a D. Okay, now just by looking at these 2 chords alone, we can see that the E is in both the C major 7 and the E minor 7 chord. That's the E in the C major 7, and that is the E in the E minor 7. And so is the G as well, and also the B. So the G on the C major 7, and on the E minor 7, and lastly the B. That's on the C major 7, and it's also there in the E minor 7 as well. So out of these 4 notes that make up both chords, 3 of them are being used in each chord. And this is what we call a similar harmonic function. They're very similar chords due to them sharing those 3 common tones, but they are also their very own chord as well. And again, we can actually look at this like the E minor 7 is a slightly different shade than the C major 7. Now let's have a look at that final chord in the tonic family, the 6th degree, which is that A minor. And remember, we're in the key of C major, aren't we? So the 6th degree of C major, 4, 5, 6, that's that A. And I'm going to build my A minor 7 chord there. And that A minor 7 chord consists of the A, C, E, and the G. Now again, there are common notes here. The E is found in both the E minor 7 and the C major 7. And the G is also found in both the E minor 7 and the C major 7 as well. So again, similar harmonic function. Now what does this actually tell us? This is basically shouting at us saying, hey, use me instead of another member of the tonic family. All right, so you can change that color. You can get a different shade in there. You can make your music a little bit more interesting. So anytime you play a 1st degree in a chord progression, you can replace it in the second half of your chord progression with either a 3rd degree or a 6th degree, and it will sound really similar, just that slightly different shade of color. Pretty neat, right? So let's take a chord progression in the key of C major. Now I'm going to play a 4-3-2 chord progression, and remember, I am playing in root note position 7th chords, okay? That's our 4, that's our 3, and that is our 2. And the reason I'm choosing this really basic descending chord progression is because a lot of people that are new to music theory usually make really simple chord progressions just like this. So I think it's a good starting point to start learning these substitutions, you know, and it may make you guys feel a little bit more at home, a little bit more at ease, knowing that I'm playing a really basic chord progression. Now, out of my 4-3-2 progression, what chord belongs to the tonic family? It's going to be the E minor 7, right? It's going to be that chord right there. Because remember, the tonic family of chords are the 1st, the 3rd, and the 6th degree. And again, we are in the key of C major, obviously. So 1st degree, 3rd degree, and the 6th degree. So we can actually replace or substitute this E minor 7 with the 6th degree of the C major scale, which is an A, or the 1st degree of the C major scale, which is a C. So let's just see what happens now when we play the chord progression. And I'm going to play my 4-3-2, and on the turnover, I'll play 4-6-2, and that 6 is going to be obviously my substitute for the 3, right? So I'm substituting again the E minor 7 for the A minor 7. All right, so you just heard that 3 chord, that E minor 7 getting subbed for that 6 chord, which is the A minor 7. Now, let's actually replace that 3rd chord again with a C major 7 chord, so the 1st degree. So I've got my 4, 3, and 2. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 4-1-2. And if you guys didn't notice what I've done there, or if you're getting a little bit confused, don't worry, because I'm going to explain it in a little bit more detail. So my chord progression, like I said, was the 4, 3, and the 2. Now that 3 chord is obviously that E minor 7 chord, and again, belongs to what? The tonic family. What else belongs to the tonic family? We know that the 1st degree does, and the 6th degree. So the very first time I replaced the 3rd degree with the 6th degree, which is that A minor 7. And then lastly, just on the last phrase that I played, I replaced the E minor 7, so the third degree, with the first degree, which is a C major 7. All right, so let's move on to the second family, the subdominant family. So the chords that belong to the subdominant family have a slight tendency to move forward in a musical phrase. And all the chords in this family have a restless fourth degree. Okay, so the subdominant family consists of the second degree of a scale, the fourth degree of a scale, and the fifth degree of the scale. However, that fifth degree is actually a dominant 7, but with a sus4. Okay, so again, in the key of C major, the second degree is a D minor 7. The fourth degree is an F major 7. And that fifth degree is a G7. But we want to slightly adjust this so we get a G7 sus4. So I'm going to lift up my third and make that G7 sus4. And by removing that third degree, that will actually eliminate something called a tritone interval, which is used to create that high tension sound in our dominant chords. But we don't want to get into that too much at the moment or in this video. But all we have done is move that third degree upper semitone to achieve that lovely sus4 sound. So let's take a chord progression of 6, 4, 3 in the key of C major, and I'm going to invert my 6th chord, so I'll be using the second inversion of the A minor 7. Okay, so instead of my A minor 7 looking like this, it's actually going to be looking like this. But now let's actually replace that fourth degree, which is that F major 7, with the second degree of the scale. So instead of playing that F major 7, we're going to substitute it out for a D minor 7. So that was the normal chord progression. That was the substitute. See, again, how it sounds really similar, right? But different at the same time. And a lot of the times, I should have actually mentioned this a bit earlier, but a lot of the times we need to use those inversions and slightly better voicings to get the most out of these substitutions. So feel free to use different voicings or inversions when practicing this, okay? All right, let's move on to the last family, the dominant family. Now, some of you already know that dominant chords hold that high sense of tension, right? And that being said, we know that the dominant family of chords will sound fairly unresolved and will also tend to lean towards some sort of resolution or something. Now, the chords in this family are the 5-7, so that dominant 7. So again, key of C major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to build that dominant 7 chord. And it also consists of a minor 7 flat 5, which is that diminished chord with that minor 7 interval added. And this sits on the 7th degree of the scale. And lastly, the 5 sus4, which is also in the subdominant family, isn't it? So the 5 sus4 is in the subdominant family and the dominant family. And that sounds like this. So again, the dominant family consists of that dominant 7 chord on the 5, that minor 7 flat 5, that's on the 7th degree, and lastly, back to that G7 sus4 again on the 5th degree. Now, before jumping into a chord progression, let's actually look at the harmonic functions of these chords. So let's compare the dominant 7 to the minor 7 flat 5 in the key of C major. So I'm going to play that G7 in my left hand, and I'm also going to play that minor 7 flat 5 in my right hand. Now we can actually see that both of these chords share 3 common tones. The B is in both of the chords, and also the D is in both of the chords, and the F is in both of the chords. So let's have a listen to it in context. I'm going to stay in the key of C major and I'll play a progression of 2, 5, 1. And I'm actually going to invert the 5 so I've got slightly better voice leading. 2, 5, and the 1. But now let's sub that 5 for a 7. So we're going to be changing that G7 for a minor 7 flat 5, a B minor 7 flat 5. But I will be playing this in a specific inversion. So I'm going to play the original again. 2, 5, and the 1. Now I'm going to replace that 5 with that 7, that B minor 7 flat 5. And slightly changes that shade of the chord, right? So it's a really subtle difference between those two chords. And again, that's because the dominant 7 and the minor 7 flat 5 share those common tones, and they share that same augmented fourth as well, which is that B to the F. So let's look at just one more quick example. I'm going to play the 4, 2, 5, 1 chord progression. And let's change that 5 to the minor 7 flat 5 and see the change in that. So our chord progression will actually change to a 4, 2, 7, 1. So that's our 4, that's our 2, that's our 7 with the B minor 7 flat 5, but I've just taken out that melody. Back to our 1, C major 7. So that right there, what I just played was using different types of substitutes and, really understanding more advanced techniques to get that more colorful sound. I mean, I was in C major, right? And essentially my chord progression was just this. But then where the hell did I get this from? Because these black notes are not in the key of C major. But again, this platform about simple substitution is just the beginning of chord substitution. And you can get really colorful, really creative the more you learn. So guys, there you have it. They are the 3 chord families, the tonic, the subdominant, and the dominant. I hope you guys learned something new today. Make sure you practice this because learning chord substitutions can really change up your music production. And if you guys do want to take it a step further, hey, let me know in the comments below. And I'll start teaching you guys a little bit more advanced theory in regards to substituting your chords. Make sure you guys smash that like button, subscribe, turn your notifications on, comment down below, all of that stuff. It will help the channel out a lot. It was a pleasure teaching you guys. I'll see you in the next one.